Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca Jarvis, coming to you live from my office. Of course, I'm the ABC News Chief Business, Technology, and Economics Correspondent, and the guy sitting to my right should be a familiar face. You all know him from ABC's Shark Tank. Robert Herjavec, welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. Nice to be back
I
on
love
the couch.
having you here. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
the last time you were on this couch, you might have shed a tear. It's possible there was some crying involved.
What? No.
It was a phenomenon.
It was the bad coffee that made me cry.
Yeah, well, we don't even have the bad coffee today. Just some old water for you. So enjoy, drink up. I'm really glad to have you here. And I think one of the things that, something about your story that has always struck me, and we talked about this, technology. You got into technology because it didn't matter who your father was to build great technology.
Well, that's one of the neat things about technology is it's a really value-driven industry. You don't need a lot of capital to start. You just need a great idea. And as long as you can add value, people will listen to you.
And you're here today because this is the winner of the C3 prize, the Astellas Oncology supported prize for helping solve cancer.
Yeah, one of the great things that you'll learn, everybody's been touched by cancer, unfortunately. And one of the experiences I had was how little technology has impacted patient care and oncology care. And so one of the things is I got involved with Astellas, and they have this prize called the C3 prize. And this was the eventual winner. It's a company called Oncomfort, and it's really designed to alleviate a lot of the patient stress, and as you go through the process, it just really calms down, especially for kids. So you get to play a game in a virtual headset.
And we're gonna, guys, in the comments below, if you have questions for Robert, let us know in the comments below. We are also going to, in addition to giving this a test run here, we're gonna post in the comments below where you can find more information, where you can see this VR technology in play. Because something I was able to do, and I looked at this on my phone yesterday. Okay. It's a really cool experience. So do you want me to put it on, or should it?
You want me to put it on? Because it'll mess up my hair.
Okay. So when you're looking at this VR technology, it takes you on a journey, right? It's supposed to help alleviate for people the stress of cancer care.
One of the hardest things about cancer care is you don't realize how much pain and stress it causes, not only to the patient, but also to the family, especially with children. And this is such a great product because a lot of the kids have to go for MRIs. Have you ever had an MRI?
They're very stressful.
I mean, I'm an adult and sitting there and it's very tight, and cancer is hard enough without having to deal with all that kind of stuff. And for me, it's fascinating how this technology helps people alleviate some of that, because it takes you into a different place and it calms people down. And one of the interesting things they found from the research is you get people through the process 50% faster. Nobody wants to be in the hospital. Nobody wants to go through that, and it just makes it so much better.
This was developed by a woman in Brussels.
It was.
And
named Diane.
Yeah. I think it's cool that it was developed by a woman, especially in technology. I love to see that. I love to see men do it as well, but it's cool. Go her. And this is something for you that's really personal, considering what happened in your life.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately everybody's been affected by cancer, but her sister was going through cancer, and she wanted to find something that'll make her life easier. My mom went through cancer, and she passed away from ovarian cancer. And it's funny, the things I've learned now, and as a tech guy, I just assumed there was all this incredible technology to make your life easier as a cancer patient. And it was really shocking to me how little technology. The rate of cancer is growing faster than technology's kept up with it.
Wow, that's a huge statistic. I was not aware of that.
Well, we just haven't applied the same level of research and technology to it. And that's one of the great things about this prize. And we were at Stanford Medicine X, has a forum where all these people come together and talk about how we can make things go faster and technology can help. And I got the opportunity to go there to see this product and a variety of other products that made it to the final list, and it can really make everybody's life a lot easier.
It's VR technology. It's called Oncomfort, with you in mind. I wonder, Robert, with the idea of solving disease in mind, considering what your background is as an entrepreneur, what's your advice to people out there who are listening who have a big mission statement? They want to cure cancer. They want to cure a disease.
Well, so I have two thoughts on that. when my mom got cancer, my first thought was, I have all the money in the world. I'm going to be able to fix this. And you kind of go through a process where you feel like you can fix it. But quickly, and unfortunately, sometimes you get to the process where you realize, I may not be able to fix it. And so your effort turns to patient care. How can I make it easier for my mom, for kids to go through this process? So I think the technology can be really applied in two ways. Who doesn't want to fix cancer? And there's a lot of technology trying to fix cancer. But at the same time, we can't forget making the life of patients easier. And there's a lot of research that's happening in oncology and patient care. And that's one of the great things about a program like this is unless you shed a light on it, it's not going to get better.
Yeah, you bring up the research, and I'm not a doctor. I have in a very sort of basic way.
But you do have a lab coat behind your door.
I do have a lab coat. That, in fact,
why?
I wore it into a laboratory once. I did
okay.
We'll show you guys the lab coat. Taylor, why don't you grab the lab coat just so people know what we're talking about? Because I always want you guys to know what we're talking about. So I tested out some cereals in a laboratory once.
Far less technical than what we're talking about.
It was far less technical. Yeah. Here's the lab coat, guys. It has my name on it. So... yeah, if you show up for Real Biz, you can see the lab coat. That's and many more interesting finds in the office. Would you like to wear it?
No, I'm okay.
It does have, but I mean, look, it is. I think you bring up a really good point, which is that if they feel like this problem is too big, if their background isn't necessarily medical or science, there are other ways that you can use technology to improve the lives of people who are going through this disease.
You know, it's about patient care. It's about making people's lives easier. And this is just one example of the technology. You don't have to be a doctor to affect cancer care. And that's one of the great things is that we're showing these kind of programs. You know, another great product we had this was one of the finalists, and this is a light product, if I can turn it on. And this is amazing. It relieves stress and fatigue.
So how does it work? You hold it up to your eyes?
Well,
or?
Don't do what I did when I was at Stanford last week. I said, oh, this is great. And I looked right into it. And the guy said, don't do that. It's bad for you. But you kind of hold it to the side. And it's proven technology. And you can do it. But this is the first handheld type of device to be able to do that.
I would imagine somebody in bed who can't get up, can't go outside, maybe this would be useful to them because it sort of emulates the sun or some sort of light.
My mom went through chemo for a long time, and it's really disheartening and optimistic at the same time. Because when you're taking her to chemo, there's a part of you, obviously, that thinks she's getting better. And you have a lot of faith and you have a lot of support, and you go there and you're excited. But then you sit there for hours and you drive her home and you see what it does to her body and how just absolutely destroys your spirit, and you're so tired and you're fatigued. And anything that makes your life easier during that time is so much better. I couldn't have saved my mom no matter what I did. We don't have the technology today to cure cancer in all areas. But we have a lot of technology that has early detection. You know, look at breast cancer today and detection rates, and for men with prostate cancer, the detection rates. But I think we can apply a lot of technology to make the patients' lives easier. Such
a good point. It's interesting. I was thinking about this. So completely randomly, this is a company that we've covered here before. It's called Glassy Baby. A woman who went through cancer makes these, and they're beautiful. They're yes. So they're really beautiful. And you put a candle inside, and they when you put a candle inside, there are candles, but they're not lit right now. They're beautiful. And part of her mission, after she went through chemo herself, she saw the pain of so many people showing up in chemo. Some of them were not as lucky in that they were showing up alone. They didn't even have family. So she created these as a way to provide money to people going through chemo so that they wouldn't be alone. That's a great idea. So, you know,
we had this program with Astellas where people all over the world, we had over 100 entries where people could write in, and the grand prize was $50,000. There was 3 finalists, and this was Dan's product, which was the grand prize winner. But we had products as non-technical as simply a ride-sharing service. where people, and you would think, how hard would it be to get a ride to go to chemo? But not everybody has family or that support system. You know, one of the things that was really, I always look back and I say, what more could I have done for my mom? And I always think, I used to drive her all the time to her chemo. And, you know, it was once a week, and then it was twice a week. And she'd say, you don't have to drive me anymore because you're busy. And so I got her a car service. And then the car service got really expensive, and then she found out what we were paying. And so she said, you don't have to send the car service anymore. I'll just take a taxi. After she passed away, I found out that she used to throw up all the time in the taxi outside. What I didn't know at the time was that when you go through chemo, the smells that affect your body, you become very sensitive to different things, and nobody knows what. You know, for her, it was smell. And I felt so bad that I didn't continue the car service because I could afford it. But there are people who can't. And so it's just a relief. You know, the beauty of this is it's a game, and the guy in the game, the character, is called Chemo, K-I-M-O. And you know, for as a child between 8 to 14, it's such a great way to relate to something. Because can you imagine being a child and having cancer and going to that hospital for the first time and getting into an MRI machine like that? How scary that must be.
It's incredibly, I can imagine that it would be incredibly scary. And chemo takes viewers on a journey. Yeah. Anyone who's playing along, who's holding the VR technology to their face, you see chemo, he takes you on a journey and he zaps out. What is it that he's zapping out the bad guys?
He's zapping out the bad cells. And
bad cells.
And explains to you how the cells work, and they're orchestrated in a way. And all you have to do is look at the cells with your eye and it zaps them out, which is really cool. But it's an immersive experience for the children.
I can see it. I can see how it would really help someone who's really scared on day one. Well, Robert Herjavec, I'm so glad you're here with us. Thank you for coming to chat about this. We started the conversation a few minutes ago about Apple and Samsung, which is completely in the news. It's something that I'm covering. Any parting thoughts on Apple and Samsung? And for those of you who are out there who have been following this story, I've been covering it on ABC. Samsung this morning halting production on all the Galaxy Note 7 devices. They had to do the recall initially, then the replacements started having reports of issues. What do you think this will ultimately mean for Samsung's business?
You know what I think is great from Samsung from a PR perspective is they owned up to it, and think how great that is that a company that size is actually stopping production. They didn't try to come up with a fix or anything, and it's incredible. The cost to them must be amazing. I think because the way that they're dealing with it, they'll definitely come back. I saw an interview yesterday with the CEO of Verizon, and he said, yeah, it's really bad, but I respect them for stopping production, and we will definitely do business with them again. So I think you'll see them come back. Great for Apple in the short term, but I think you're going to see Samsung and a lot of the other different types of phones come back.
And one last parting thought about Shark Tank. Rest of the season. Any big moments ahead you're excited about or fearful of seeing as they play out on camera?
Well, I'm always fearful when you put Barbara on live TV. So I think it's going to be a great season. You know, the intensity is a lot bigger this year. We felt last year like maybe we got a little comfortable with each other.
But I think that's a good thing.
It is, but this year the quality of the business is amazing. For the first time ever, we had businesses come on, and before they left the set, I had my team try to close the deal right there because the quality of business is so good now. You know, we're very easy to understand as sharks. We like to make money. And when somebody comes out with something we can make money on, we really don't like the other sharks. We just go after it. So I think you're going to see some really good stuff this year.
That's why they call you sharks.
It's
and
true.
Not dolphins.
It is not the guppy tank. Yes.
Robert Herjavec, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Really appreciate it. And thank you to all of you for joining us for the conversation. Again, it is the C3 prize, and we're going to post information about where you can see this technology. We'll post it in the comments so that you can take a look at it yourself. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Have a great day, guys.